Let's talk to Trevor Kavanagh, former political editor at The Sun. Trevor, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
There is a certain amount of delusion going on here, isn't there? The Labour government are deluded about their role in the world and how the economy is doing. And it seems the Tories are deluded about exactly what future they have.
Well, I think there are two questions here. The first is that the Labour government is making blunder after blunder and proving themselves totally incompetent for the job they were elected to do. The other thing is that the Tories seem to have sunk so far below the horizon that whatever they do or say has no impact whatsoever. Nobody is listening. Nobody wants to listen. And I think that they have left it much too long since the last election and the election of Kavanagh as leader to actually state their case and come out fighting. That silence has been a vacuum filled by Nigel Farage on both counts. And this latest poll that you mentioned is an absolute phenomenal boost for him and his party and his prospects of actually winning an outright and possibly a very large majority in the next general election.
No question at all. I mean, the figures are really quite staggering. But I mean, I talk, and as I say, I wrote a piece yesterday about how terrible the state of the current Tory party is and how deluded the ministers are, that they keep saying, well, that wasn't really my job when I was in the last government, that's not really my fault, you know, we're going to do all these things now that we said we would do in the last 14 years that we didn't do. But I mean, you know, this new poll, which was held, admittedly before Tory party conference, but their bump in the polls after that wasn't much. It was a couple of points. You know, they've got the Conservatives getting 7 seats, Labour 73, Lib Dems 42, SNP 41. I mean, the Conservatives literally collapsing.
Absolutely, and I can remember in the run-up to that last general election when people who I knew to be lifelong die-hard Conservative voters, and indeed some who were members of the Conservative Party and chairman of their local parties, were saying in direct terms, quite bluntly and repeating it, I will never vote Tory again.
Yeah.
And I think that has stuck. I don't think they've changed their minds, and the Tories haven't given them anything to bite on to come back and vote for. I think that the stamp duty thing was a very, very good idea, long overdue. It's a stupid policy, very bad for Britain and the economy. But has it made an impact? It doesn't seem as if it has at all.
No, it really doesn't. And meanwhile, we sort of stumble from one disaster to another. I mean, Neil O'Brien was right about that. You know, we're still waiting to find out exactly what happened over this China spice crisis. You know, it looks like the Crown Prosecution Service have very much accused the government of withholding information from them, of not cooperating with them, and therefore them having to drop a quite important prosecution against 2 British spies working inside the House of Commons for China. I mean, it seems extraordinary, and that's only one scandal of about 15 that are sort of currently ongoing.
Yes, Neil O'Brien gave you a very good shopping list of the others, but the spy scandal almost is dwarfed by those other individual indicators that basically the Tories lie, cheat, and are incompetent. So it's a deadly combination. And I think that the spy scandal has yet to run its course. When you get a serving director of public prosecutions basically accusing a government led by a former director of public prosecutions of deceit, which is basically what it boils down to, then it's a serious problem. And when that's in writing and in public and in the public domain, it isn't going to go away again.
No. It really isn't. And, I mean, that's before you look at the state of the economy. I mean, Rachel Reeves off to the IMF today in Washington, apparently, where she's going to be told by them that Britain is going to have the highest inflation rate in the G7 and that basically growth in wages and living standards has stalled. And it's all looking terribly bleak for the next 3 months, if not more.
Yes, and these are all the direct consequences of Labour's mismanagement, the capitulation to the trade unions for big pay demands, the increase in stamp duty, basically a tax on jobs which have disappeared like snow in the Sahara. And I think that all of these things are really beginning to bite with people. People aren't always obsessed with the economy, but when it lands on their doorsteps and they can't get jobs and their kids can't get jobs when they leave university, when businesses are closing, shops are shutting, restaurants are closing, then it's evidence on the high street, and it's in their homes. And I think that this is something that the government is going to find extremely difficult, if not impossible, to overturn and overcome in time for the next general election. It can actually only get worse for them.
Yeah, I think so. And again, I mean, we've reached a point where, I mean, we've got a new Home Secretary. Yvette Cooper did a pretty useless job when she was doing it. We've now got Shabana Mahmood, who we were assured is the best person for the job. She will stop at nothing. She will leave no stone unturned. Everything's going to be amazing because she's so tough and nobody's going to mess with her. She's fine. She's been in the job, what, a month or so? And she's now finally thrown her hands up in the air and gone, we've lost control of our borders.
Yes, she was asking the Albanians and the people on the far east of the European Union to come to her rescue. Well, we're the last people that they're interested in. They're too busy fighting their own battles, or alternatively, shipping out all the migrants that come into their domain and heading them in our direction. I mean, those pictures of people coming across in boats, which you're showing right now, are now ingrained in the imaginations and memories of the voting public.
Yeah.
All of them waving joyfully. Look at that lot. They're all young men of fighting age, as Nigel Farage keeps repeating. And that is intolerable, and it keeps happening.
Yeah.
It's been happening every day. 36,000 on their watch. That's a very, very large part of our community being duplicated here by people with nothing in common with our way of life. And in many cases, in deep opposition to our democratic way of life.
And certainly, you know, the points made by Nigel Farage kind of epitomised by the case yesterday at Southwark Crown Court of an illegal migrant who came to this country and basically threatened to kill Nigel Farage. He's done time in various other parts of Europe. He's got 17 crimes, I think, listed against his name in Germany, but he was allowed into this country because we didn't know he had those criminal convictions to his name. And suddenly, he's now jailed for 5 years because of threatening to kill a political leader in the UK. It's just astonishing.
It is astonishing. I mean, it's not as if he was hiding his light under a bushel, was he, with that Kalashnikov tattooed on his cheek?
No.
And quite belligerent videos that he's been distributing. And that wasn't a joke. That wasn't someone just being a bit satirical. That was a threat. And I think that Nigel Farage, who's had his security team diminished by this government, is entitled to feel very, very alarmed and worried. And I know that he is about his own, not just his own personal safety, but that of his family and his working colleagues. And, you know, we've seen enough of the actual delivery of violence by people like this to make it a very, as the Jewish community has just experienced in Manchester, we live in fear of such people, and we should not be expected to be exposed to such fear.
No, exactly right. Trevor, good to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed.